Hi, everybody. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 101. This is the first 2023 episode, actually.
Woo!
I'm Caedo Genesis. I'm joined by my co-host, Jared of Jaw Red Gaming.
Hello there.
And unfortunately, Sarge has a bit of a cough and didn't feel like being on the mic with said cough, so he's out for this week. Hopefully, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. But until then, we have a couple of things, a couple of newsy things to talk about, and also a topic. Yes, it's wonderful. It's awesome. It's a gamer article, a TheGamer article,
Yes.
that Jared found. So we'll be talking about that a little ways into the show, about 15 tips for playing 76 solo and what we think of those 15 tips, and probably what we think about 76 as well.
Always.
Will it be positive? Will it be negative? Will it be somewhere in between? Stick around to find out. I'm doing really good at hooking right now.
Roll that intro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just that. That's the intro.
Great.
Just Jared making noises. Okay. Well, first, before we get into the news, we do the comment of the cast, and we got one from Caroline and Garrison Savage. Jared, would you please read out the comment?
I will indeed. Hey, great episode as always, Caedo. Question: what would yield more damage for a player character in New Vegas? Handloader or Bloody Mess?
That's a great question, and I'm sure other people have wondered the same thing. And I think Handloader and Bloody Mess, I should have had these open, but I'm pretty sure both of these perks are available at the same level, which is why it's a question primarily. So Bloody Mess is a 5% damage boost across the board, and enemies have a chance of exploding upon death. Pretty straightforward perk. It started kind of acting that way in Fallout 3 and just kind of continued being that kind of thing. Whereas Bloody Mess was a trait in the original Fallout games. Handloader, it allows you to make handload rounds in Fallout New Vegas, which some of them do give a better damage bonus than Bloody Mess. Like the 10mm JHP handload gives a 1.65 times 1.65. If you're upkeeping the 10mm, the 12.7mm, or the 9mm with these JHP rounds, then yes, you'll be surpassing the damage of Bloody Mess. But you'd have to stay loaded all the time with this ammo to be able to, call that better. Whereas with Bloody Mess, it's 5% across the board. You don't have to worry about what ammo you're using because it's always going to have a 5% bonus. So for peace of mind, I would probably go with Bloody Mess. If across the board is what you're going for, I would go with Bloody Mess. But handloader and making ammo in general is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of different types of ammo for Fallout New Vegas, and even more when the Gunrunner's Arsenal came out. So I guess it's still your choice.
Nice.
I'm like convincing myself one way or another in real time. But
Quite insightful.
Bloody Mess is kind of what I landed on. That's a good question. Also, thanks for that question. That was a comment from the 100th episode that we did. Hey, that was our year in review episode. So it's no longer relevant.
Of course it is.
Don't go back and listen to it.
Everything we say is relevant for all time.
It's in the past now.
Okay, never mind.
On to the news.
Yes.
First of all, I ended up finding, because I was googling around for different newsy things that would be interesting over the last couple of weeks, as we usually do. But I was also curious about what kind of stuff we could be expecting in 2023 for games, because I'm sure you have something that you're excited for in 2023, Jared.
I am looking forward to some great things. If only there was a place where we could see a comprehensive list of all these games coming out in this year. Anything come to mind,
Man.
Caedo?
Yeah, that would be amazing. In fact, I came across a Polygon article or list, kind of, that is that very thing. Showing basically all of the release dates of note that they wrote down, because it's, not everything's perfect, obviously. But the big ones, especially the AAA ones, are all listed here in the Polygon link down below. So you can go through each month and be like, hey, I want to check out this game. Then you can mark it on your calendar because they got the dates there too. So it's actually a really nice, comprehensive list of games that are coming out.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything on here that you specifically are looking forward to other than Starfield?
Other than Starfield.
I know it's going to be like your new bread and butter, but like
I'm still probably going to try Forspoken.
Okay.
At some point, maybe not immediately when it comes out, but I thought it was funny and interesting that Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is coming to Xbox. Wonder how that's gonna play.
How old is that game?
Seems interesting. Age of Empires 2?
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
Okay.
I want to say like 2000-ish. But the Definitive Edition is really good. Like, it's got ridiculous particle effect animations for the buildings collapsing and stuff like that now.
Very good.
Like, it's just a really good game. Really good RTS. Which is why it got multiple remakes / remasters.
Yeah, one game that I'm surprisingly looking forward to, and I wasn't until I was talking to Eddie, Crazy Eyed Eddie, over on the Babbling Bros podcast that me and Eddie do. Not plugging, but kind of plugging. I took a Hogwarts test that determines your house and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hogwarts game that's coming out is I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Like, it looks pretty darn cool. Like, I feel like even not really knowing that much about that universe, because I've never really read the books or watched the movies or anything. It just looks like a really fun game, like a good fantasy, magic and running around and doing things kind of game. And I feel like we haven't had a really good one of those in a while, so that's definitely on my top of my list.
I could hear Eddie getting hyped for it. Principle wise, I can't play it, so, which is a bummer because it does look fun.
Okay.
J.K. Rowling stuff.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything, honestly. Like, I've never really, like I said, I haven't watched any of the movies. I haven't read any of the books, so I don't pay attention to the news regarding all that thing. So I don't know anything. The game looks neat. And when I took the test, my wand was longer than Eddie's, so I'm just going to leave that.
That's
there.
funny. Basically, yeah, all there is to it really is J.K. Rowling is an awful human being, and obviously money is going into her pocket,
of course,
to continue being an awful human being.
Great.
So, yeah, I
Awesome.
I can't play the game and support that.
Well,
so.
kudos to you for sticking to your principles, man.
Yeah, I sometimes do. Sometimes it really depends on the game. Because there's other situations where I'm just like, man, I sure hope there's no NFTs related to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. And then it's going to be a massive like, oh my God, what do I do? If that does happen, what do I do? I am a huge fan of this franchise, and I don't want to support NFTs, and then I'm stuck.
Yeah. I think it's best just to, you have to think this stuff's going to happen whether you want it to or not. So for me personally, my mindset is I'm not going to let someone being a crappy person affect me having fun. I don't know. Maybe that's selfish.
If the crappy person is actively harming other people, then I usually draw a line, and that's more along the lines of what it is. So
that's fair.
That's why I choose to stand on this. I don't know what you would call it, pedestal.
Yeah, those are high
Yeah.
sometimes.
So, anyway, other things that we would be interested in. Oh my god, Octopath Traveler 2 is a thing that's going to happen. I haven't even played the first one yet. The System Shock remake, that's in March.
Yeah.
To be announced in March. At least that's what it says here.
Now, the question is, there's like 2 System Shock games, I believe, that were being developed. One was being developed by the original developers, and one was being developed by like a new developer. Does that sound familiar? Because I played the demo of one, and I made the mistake of saying that it was one or the other, and then the developer was like, "No, that's not ours. How dare you?" Like, not in a mean way, like they were kind of joking, like, "Oh, what's her name's kind of come and get me," you know. I can't remember the name of the AI, but I'm curious which
Shodan?
one this is. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Well, it says there's 2 developers, Night Dive Studios and Looking Glass Studios.
Yeah, I can't remember which one's the original. I think it was Night or Looking Glass sounds. I don't know.
Maybe it's a cooperative thing?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, Zircon is the composer. Oh, I've been a Zircon fan for a while.
Who dat?
That's cool. Zircon is is one of the Overclock remix composers that have been like in the gaming space, like remixing game tracks for a long time.
Oh.
That's freaking cool.
Very good.
And I look forward to hearing and seeing what System Shock can do. Because I played System Shock 2 all the way through, but I could not like bring myself to play the aged original System Shock.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. And I played the demo at PAX West last year.
Okay.
On the show floor, and I mean, what they had there was pretty cool, but I was just exploring a couple of rooms,
right,
and killing a couple robo zombies, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
I think I played the demo. I might have even done it on my channel, but I can't remember. Yeah, I did the remake demo back in March of 2021.
oh my god,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'd never played any of them actually. So
yeah, they are pretty intense and very much part of like the immersive sim kind of DNA for games. A lot of things that game did like kind of got adopted and iterated upon for years to come.
And it's kind of
awesome.
spoopy.
And it's kind of spooky. You're right. Let's see. Sifu comes to PC, Xbox, or PC and Xbox in March also. Oh, Dead Island 2 is supposed to be April 28th. Wow. Supposed to be.
That one I'm interested in, but I'm like not sure until I actually see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been so long in the works that I'm worried that it's just. I mean, it's obviously it's not going to live up to any hype. Nothing ever does.
Right.
But I am interested in it for sure, but just like apprehensively. So. I am curious about this Star Trek game, though. I didn't know there was a Star Trek game in development. Like
Star Trek Resurgence.
I don't know anything about that. That's the first time I've seen that title, and I've been wanting a good Star Trek game for a long time.
Narrative adventure.
Ooh,
it's gonna tell a story.
Wow.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is developed by who? And it's not going to be episodic, if that was your question. I'm just looking at a Q&A thing on the bottom of it. Who's making it?
Yeah.
Dramatic Labs. There we go. An independent collaboration of 20 plus former Telltale writers, developers, designers, artists, and producers. So It will be familiar to fans of Telltale's unique style of gameplay, but it will also bring some welcome additions and refinements from Dramatic Labs. Okay.
Ooh, I'm
So-
interested.
Yep.
Because I'm a big fan of the Telltale games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This suddenly became high on my list.
The Final Fantasy VII Remake? Is that one? Rebirth? Yeah. October, Q4. This is when Rebirth is supposed to come out. So, Remake Part 2.
Oh.
Yeah, that's obviously a huge one that I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to. But again, you know, if the NFT stuff gets too heavy, I might have to bow out
Yeah.
and just watch somebody else play it.
Aw.
Which would be a bummer. But a lot of people looking forward to Silk Song, which is supposedly first half of 2023. I think Starfield is in that list too. Which again we'll get to later. But
of course.
There's a lot here.
There is
here.
a lot.
There's a huge list. So check out the list if you're like wondering what games you should be interested in or what games you should be reminded of. Yeah, gigantic list. We've linked it below.
It's gonna be a good year for gaming.
Yeah, let's hope so,
Let's
dude.
hope so.
You know who's not having a good year for gaming?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Who is it? Who is it? Perhaps who is it?
I will tell you right now. It's Wizards of the Coast, or more
No
aptly,
way!
Hasbro's Wizards of the Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently they've gone and canceled a bunch of video game projects, like I think 5.
Something like that. Yes.
My article won't load in its entirety, so I can't read it for some reason.
Yeah, this one's a Bloomberg link. Another one I got from.
They probably want me to pay to read it or some bullcrap like
Possibly.
that. I'm not gonna do that though. Nice try.
Let's see. Company which also publishes the popular card game Magic the Gathering spent the last few years investing to make a splash in video games. It signed contracts with several game makers and built at least 6 of its own studios. Built 6 game studios,
Wow.
including Austin, Texas, and Montreal. So far, the results have been mixed. A 2021 game called Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance was received poorly. But one of this year's most anticipated video game titles is the Dungeons & Dragons themed Baldur's Gate 3, made by the Belgian developer Larian Studios. Early versions have been received well by players.
I'm assuming that wasn't one of the games that was canned, since it's still slated for release.
Obviously not.
Okay,
no.
good.
But Larian's not one of the studios that was just opened
Right.
by Wizards of the
They've been
Coast. Like
around
they
for
were
a
trying to do internal like video game development, and it just seemed like it all fell through.
It makes me so sad because it makes me wonder what it was gonna be. Like I always say I want more D&D in my life.
Yeah, I always wonder that too. But it does leave room. What is the name of the booklet for that's like, what is it, like public domain or licensed to developers that they can use? Like Solasta use the rule set.
You know, like 5e, 5th edition.
It's not 5th edition. It's like a license that they can give out to developers.
I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody might know in the comments, but that's what Solasta used in order to make, you know, a D&D like. But obviously, they don't say Dungeons and Dragons like anywhere on, you know, on the game itself. But it is using their more available rule set that is very much like D&D. That is D&D basically.
Is it the Open Gaming License? Does that sound familiar?
I think
I just did a quick little thing, and you know, there's a bunch of stuff, and that's just something that popped out.
Man, I'm like 2 for 2 for like not knowing.
That's okay. How dare you not know all of the information at all times?
I skimmed too hard. Yeah. But anyway, Wizards of the Coast, it seems like video games aren't really their thing.
Yeah.
they tried, but I think it may be better to allow other developers like Larian Studios to work with the property instead, or their properties instead. Like,
Yeah, stick to
like Baldur's
tabletop
Gate 3.
and let other like well-formed and well-greased developers who have been doing it for a while. Let
Yeah,
them
those
let them
greasy
do that.
developers.
Those greasy. So greasy. And I you know what, I think as sad as it is to hear about that, and I really hope there's like not a bunch of people who without jobs now because of that. I don't know if it says anything since I couldn't read the article myself. As sad as it is, I think I agree, because I would rather them just focus tabletop and not make crappy video games instead of making some crappy video games, because
Yeah. I don't know. You played Dark Alliance. That was on Game Pass, right?
yeah, I streamed it a few times.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible. I mean, it didn't feel like D&D at all. You know, it felt more like a typical third-person action.
Even though
kind
it
of
had D&D characters in it, but it didn't feel like
nothing
like
about it. You could easily played that game with another title on it, and you would have believed it. You would never have thought like, oh, this is D&D.
Like, you could play Deep Rock Galactic and be like, oh, this is a D&D game. And then you'd be like, what?
Exactly.
Maybe something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if like that dungeon crawly format has evolved past what they were trying to do, because they were trying to bring back Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Like, that's exactly what they were trying to do.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like they did enough. Like, they were just trying to like recreate that without like paying attention to what's currently out there. Maybe like, I'm going by sight though, like, because you actually played it.
Yeah.
Did it seem like anything was particularly like, you know, modern to it, or did it seem like it was still using that same arcadey kind of dungeon crawly RPG mechanic?
I mean, I only played it a few times and it was a while ago, but from what I can, like, off the top of my head thinking about it, nothing pops out and screams, this is a new thing. It was really just third person, whackety whack, don't come back, fighting things and getting loot. And I mean, it didn't particularly do it super well, I would say. I don't know. Yeah, it definitely didn't do anything new. I don't know if it really, I don't know. It's hard. If you try to compare it like to the old Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games, it was nothing like those. Yeah, it was just like like I said, you could easily mistake the game for any other cookie cutter action fantasy third person type of game. Like, you would never know, and there was nothing special about it, honestly. Like, it looked okay, it looked pretty, but as far as mechanics goes, it was pretty basic. It was pretty run of the mill.
Yeah, just give a license to developers that know what they're doing.
Yes.
Let them have a whack at it.
Yeah,
because Baldur's Gate 3 is shaping up to be pretty dang good. I just want it to be finished before I touch it.
Yes. You know what would be a cool company to make a D&D game? Zenimax.
What?
But until that happens, they're doing some other pretty interesting things, aren't they?
They are indeed. Zenimax employees are voting to form the biggest video game union in the US. I read like the whole headline.
Did it?
So this is actually really good. So this is an example of the higher ups, like Microsoft, for example, because Zenimax is under Microsoft now. Microsoft being completely hands off, or like giving him a nod instead of trying to like union bust, like we've seen a lot with places like, I don't know, Activision Blizzard.
Interesting.
So the biggest union for video game developers, like historically,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Because I mean, we've talked about other. I believe we've talked about other smaller unions that have been forming.
Yeah.
In the wake of all the horrible things that have happened in the video game industry in the last year or two, especially.
Mm-hmm.
This definitely seems like a legitimate big, like this is the real deal kind of a thing. And I wonder if this one would like absorb those other ones, or if those other ones will continue to exist independently.
You're talking about like the Communications Workers of America thing?
Yeah, because I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure we've talked about other smaller unions, or at least attempt at union forming on. I can't think of specific developers, or we've talked about unions before,
Right.
but this is the first time I think that it's been like a big, like multinational kind of a union thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering and I'm dumb, but
I mean, they might. I feel like some of them or a lot of them might be under the CWA.
Okay. Would make sense. I just don't know for certain.
Yeah. But this was primarily like just a big step in the right direction for
Absolutely
workers getting recognized and being treated fairly
and being protected.
Yeah, and being protected. That's very important.
That's like the biggest. That's like the biggest thing for a union, is because like in an organization without a union, like your employer can just fire you without reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're protected by a union, most of the times, as far as I'm aware, they can't. Like even in states where that's the thing, because some states are like that's law, and some states where an employer can fire you without any reason. I think if you're under the protection of a union, that cannot happen. There's a due process, and the workers are protected through the due process and representatives from the union. This is a really fantastic, actually. This is really encouraging, actually.
And yeah, I'm seeing here that the CWA says the new union includes all QA employees in the US across Zenimax's various studios, which is a lot.
You're kind of a big deal.
yeah, because that includes Bethesda Studios, that includes Arcane, that includes Machine Games, that includes id. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of studios. And QA, quality assurance employees specifically, is what this is about. I'm pretty sure. Because we already had a conversation about how QA workers were treated more like contract workers, or
right?
Not quite being considered as part of the development team, even though they are crucial to like games coming out functioning. So
yeah,
and need to be listened to a little bit more sometimes. So yeah, good on them. Keep doing that. Get your representation out there. Happy for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's nice to see hopefully this will turn into a positive trend and not just a one-off, and we'll see more, especially big AAA developers try to do this, and hopefully the parent companies doing what Microsoft is doing and actually being okay with it. Like you said, not crushing it before it even begins.
Yeah.
I really hope to see this happen just across the board.
For
video
sure.
game development wise, that would be great.
Something else that is really great is more people playing video games.
Wow.
And PlayStation happened to reveal a new accessibility controller for those with various disabilities who so they can play games with it. It's very interesting looking, but has a I think they did they like separated out the parts. It's like a fully customizable controller for whatever you need. Yeah, it's cool. More people should play video games and shouldn't be limited based on their physical disability or mental disability. So
that's
awesome.
pretty cool.
Good job, PlayStation. join
Wow.
Microsoft.
Look at,
In
look at all this positive news we're throwing out today, man.
yeah,
Like, this is unusual.
Makes me so happy. Maybe I'm turning a blind eye on purpose.
Well, it just feels like last year there was just so many bad stories of just horrible things happening in the industry, and I feel like we're starting off 2023 right with some good positive stuff. I dig it.
Maybe, well, I don't want to sound mean, but like Sarge isn't here.
Dang, that's some shade, yo.
It's like we're up in the I don't know, the blimp, and Sarge isn't there to shoot it down.
Well, I mean, that means he's in the distance with a sniper rifle, probably. We just can't see him. Let's be honest.
We're still in his sights. He just hasn't taken the shot yet.
We better be careful what we say now.
Yeah. But also, like, if we wanted to bring it down, I could start talking crap on CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. Like, I can go on that for a while.
Game of the year, Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that every time we mention Cyberpunk, just so you know.
Yeah. Or any of their upcoming projects too. I still have very little faith.
It's a shame. Let's not go negative, man. We're on a positive thing here.
Okay. All right. Let's stay positive and talk about the release window that we have for Starfield that was reconfirmed through a help.bethesda.net. It's the Bethesda support. Answering the question, what is Starfield's release date? Starfield arrives exclusively on Xbox and PC in the first half of 2023. That's the Xbox Series X and S.
Confirmed.
Yeah. So first half of 2023, that is the window that we have to finally play Starfield. Perhaps, maybe, if they don't push it back again.
Oh no.
But they've been trickling in a little bit of information here and there, which we've gone over in several PIPCasts of the past year. Where they go over some of the world building stuff, some of the concept art describing some of the different factions and planets you'll go to and stuff like that, or hubs. The lead quest designer, Will Shen, was the recent interview kind of thing, and he shed a bit more light on like how quests are going to work and how the Radiant system has been improved for planet side discoveries and stuff. So that is cool. I just want to play Starfield.
I want to play the darn game.
I'm gonna play it.
Now, I'm curious. I want to get your thoughts, because this is something we've talked. Me and Eddie talked about again over on.
They come
on our thing. I'm not even gonna say it. I already said it once.
Babbling Bros.
What do you think? Like, since Microsoft, and maybe this is giving Microsoft too much credit, I don't know, but maybe since Microsoft bought Zenimax and Bethesda and all that good stuff, do you think that maybe they had something to do with pushing the game back till it was done? Because, I mean, Bethesda's kind of notorious for just releasing the game in all its buggy gloriness. But now that they have a new backer with money who probably has a little bit of say in things, you think maybe Microsoft had something to do with them pushing the game back until it's actually good or playable, or whatever the reasons that maybe they pushed the game back?
I like to believe, like, I can't even say where I've seen this or if I'm just imagining it at this point, but I feel like I have seen Microsoft quoted in saying, like, while these companies and developers are under us, like, we want them to work autonomously.
Right.
So I don't know if that has to do with things on the Microsoft side. I think it's more along the lines of maybe a cautionary tale or two prior, really considering what state they want to release their game in.
Okay.
Because 76 definitely didn't go off without a hitch, and
What?
Cyberpunk was total garbo and unplayable for some people. So
You just think a long history that we've seen over the last few years of just really horrible game releases. And
I think they're really picking up what they themselves put down.
Okay, all right. I was just curious.
I'm hoping that there's some character development on the Bethesda side of things.
That would be nice.
Yeah, and the more, finished a game is when it comes out, the less I have to make alterations to future guides.
Yeah, and the less mods I have to download.
To fix your game.
Which, I mean, let's be fair. Eventually, I'm going to download mods for Starfield.
Of course.
That's just the way it is.
That's the Bethesda thing, though. I don't know how many games are as moddable as Bethesda games are, because they make it possible for players. They make it so much more easy to do with their tools.
That they do.
And I mean, I guess CD Projekt Red just got on that boat for for providing tools for players. I don't know if they did that for The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 1. Because 3 was, obviously the best one. So, yeah. So, and I don't even know if they have modding tools for The Witcher. What was I thinking? They have modding tools for Cyberpunk. And
but is it just Cyberpunk though? Because it is red something, which to me makes it think like it's mostly just it's for all their games. It's a good question though, because I haven't tried to mod The Witcher 3.
Cyberpunk 2077 has an official modding tool, is what Polygon said.
Okay.
So Red Mod, I think it is specifically for Cyberpunk.
Okay.
So they probably didn't even go backwards on it, but better late than never.
For sure. And
they got a little catching up to do still.
to be fair, I mean, you can still get mods for The Witcher 3 because there's still people who know how to do that. It's just they just don't have the neat little packaged thing. Like
it's rougher to do.
Oh, I'm sure.
For
and
games
there's less
that
versatility. Like there's mostly UI stuff, and like there's not huge overhauls and stuff as far as I'm aware of. I may be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Again, I haven't.
But
tried.
I know from experience and just seeing what kind of cool stuff and dumb stuff that people can make as mods. That all it does is like making it more accessible for people. All it does is enrich the experience for your players and also dramatically extends the lifespan of your game. We have seen that with most Bethesda games. Most of them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that people are still playing and modding and coming out with new mods for like Morrowind.
Oh yeah,
says quite a bit about it.
Yes. I modded Morrowind a little bit just to fix my game a tiny bit. Tiny bit. Just to get it to work in like, my ridiculous monitor resolution and that kind of stuff.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
It's old enough to not cooperate with modern stuff, which is crazy to think about. Feel old now. Can we move on?
Modders.
Can I get someone to mod my age, please?
Mod my age like 10 years back, please. I would love that. I would love to. With the knowledge I have now. But we're getting existential, so
we better move on then.
Why don't we go on to the topic, which is an article from TheGamer. Hopefully a listener's favorite. I haven't seen anybody in the comment section be like, stop reading articles from TheGamer. They're stupid and bad and dumb, and you're dumb.
Oh.
I mean, now I'm inviting it. So
Great.
like,
good job.
I'm expecting someone to say that, just one person to say that in the comment section.
And if it's not Sarge, I will be upset. So if you're
And there's that
listening,
bullet.
if you're
Boom.
Sarge, if you're out there and you're listening, fire that shot at our blimp right now. Now's your chance, buddy.
Way to call back. That's good. Okay. That was tasty. Okay,
Nom, nom, nom.
so this is 15 tips for playing Fallout 76 solo from TheGamer, written by Austin Joseph Ernst. What a cool last name, Ernst.
Right?
Um,
Kind of old timey.
yeah, it is a little bit. We usually have this preconceived notion that TheGamer articles are either out of date, misinformed, missing crucial information, hilariously badly written. Sometimes we can be surprised. I have been surprised on a couple of them. One time when we had Will Strife on for one of the couple episodes we had last year, we built up TheGamer articles as being some of the worst things we ever read, and he was expecting that, and then it turned out to be not a bad article at all. Or not a bad list at all. So I felt like I let him down.
Oh.
But that's also a lesson as to, maybe some trying to be a little unbiased each time we read through these, because they're different writers too. So
This is true.
just the quality just varies greatly. But this is a Fallout 76 10 tips for playing solo.
15.
So it could go anyway. 15 tips. I said 10, didn't I?
You did.
I cannot read numbers today. That's what I can't read. So Jared, will you please start it, because I'm failing right now.
Sure. I'll just go ahead and start with kind of the stuff here. Fallout 76 is an online game, but you can play it solo. Absolutely. And here are some tips to get you started as a lone wanderer. I'm not going to read the whole rest of this. Let's just start with the list, unless you want me to read all the extra stuff here.
Oh, the updated thing is important though.
Where's updated thing?
Updated on January 4th,
okay.
2023.
Gotcha. Updated January 4th, 2023 by Brandon Lizardi. The game continues to expand and update, introducing new mechanics, items, enemies, and locations. All that new content entices new players, many wanting to play Fallout 76 solo. Beyond that, new meta strategies and community practices have been developed that will help anyone trying to play on their own. With this in mind, we've expanded our list of tips accordingly. So perhaps at one point it was only 10 tips, and now it is 15.
I did read it correctly. That's what I'm
you
going
read
to
it-
believe.
Yes. You saw into the past. Magic. Okay. Well, let's start off with number 15. Explore. 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 Yes. The only surefire way to get stronger in Fallout 76 is to explore. Exploration is a critical element to open world games in general, but is arguably more important in a game that consistently pits you against other players. Most of these players have probably teamed up, immediately putting you at a disadvantage. Exploring Appalachia is one of the true highlights of Fallout 76. Yes, even when the game was riddled with bugs and technical issues back when it launched. As a solo player, the more you explore, the more you will be able to find coveted loot, fantastic outposts, and serviceable hiding spots for when the need arises. Get familiar with Appalachia as you can, especially early on in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What did you think about the first part when they talk about... It says exploration is a critical element to open world games in general, but is arguably more important in a game that consistently pits you against other players. It was barely that way at launch. PvP was very much still kind of opt-in. And I'm pretty sure pacifist mode was there at launch, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they just made it more rigid as the lifespan of the game kept going. That first bit is not something anybody should really worry about.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes it more important. I mean, I feel like if anything, it's just as equally important because you're playing a Fallout game where exploration is kind of part of the fun. But I don't know if it's arguably more important in a game where there's PvP. In fact, it's probably less important.
I just think it was a weird comparison, mainly. Like, they could have compared the exploration to like any other aspect besides the PvP thing.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because it's weird at this point. It's weird to be like, man, this game sure has a lot of PvP, but you know what is more important than PvP? Exploring. It doesn't quite make sense when I talk about 76 that way. So
Okay. But what about exploration in general, though, as far as this being a point as someone who's playing it solo, which actually makes it even more odd that they're comparing it to PvP when it's an article about playing solo.
yeah, that's weird too. I think exploration is good exploration is essential for open world games. I think all open world games should have enough love and care put into them where exploring is rewarding for the player. And it's not a lot of copy paste locations, and 76 is definitely not a bunch of copy paste locations. It is
right.
It has a lot of stuff in the Appalachia map.
Yeah.
That you can find and discover and all kinds of stuff like that. Something generally Bethesda games do pretty well, I think.
Absolutely.
There were some, like, back in the day, like Oblivion and Morrowind stuff, like you could tell that like some of the assets were just reused and different stuff. Like they would make, this one weird jumpy staircase you had to go up in Morrowind. Like they put it on everything and it was a freaking nightmare. Or like there was like a couple of varieties of dungeons and they all kind of started to blend together after a while. But then Skyrim came out and like Fallout 3 exists, and like those have like a lot of variety between dungeons and locations and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And Bethesda games are some of the coolest things to explore because there's always something to discover. It feels like, anyway.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like very specific, like someone put that there with a specific reason in mind, and usually it's like a cameo of something, or like only certain people will get the joke kind of a thing or whatever. And I really dig that because it kind of makes you feel like the developers are actually putting in, they actually enjoy what they're doing, and when they're developing the game, they're like, oh, let's put this neat little thing in here that only some people will find, or only some people will get if they know the reference. And
that happens regularly too. Like they have so many in jokes, like both with the fans and with themselves.
Yeah.
That there's always something that they like to include too. I remember in Fallout 3, the chess set that's like a whole bunch of miniaturized objects, including like lawn gnomes and stuff like that, on a checkerboard. And that's in one of the satellite arrays in Fallout 3.
Oh, nice.
And you can completely miss it, right? But if you do discover it, you can be like, holy crap, somebody like spent the painstaking time to set up this board and have designated pieces like shrunk down and put on the board for this one thing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, man, that's some dedication for a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
A little bit of fun world building discovery. Awesome stuff. And it's a good point on that front, I think.
Just not the PvP stuff.
Are we awarding points? Are we doing a true or false thing?
Well, I award this 4 nukes out of 5. I don't know. I'm however you want to do it, man. I would say on the grand scale of it, I would agree with it, just because for all the reasons that we just talked about. I think the one point that you pointed out about the whole comparing it, like that whole first paragraph, actually, if they should just get rid of that first paragraph and just
Oh,
start
yeah.
with the second paragraph.
The second paragraph explains it just fine.
Yeah, it explains it in the context of the freaking article about playing solo. Like the whole first paragraph doesn't even need to be there because it talks. They could just put that in an article that has to do
I wonder
with
if that was
PvP.
If that was one of the things that was added afterwards.
I hope not, because it doesn't make it doesn't work.
Really funny. On January 4th, 2023. That'd be funny.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I could do the next one, I guess.
Yeah.
14. Find the best weapons for your preferred play style. How are you going to spend your time playing Fallout 76? Are you going to focus on stealth, moving in silently to take down any unsuspecting mutants or foes? No matter how you choose to play, you will need to get to grips with various guns and weapons in and around Appalachia. Solo players lack what teamed up players have, namely a diversity of skills and weapons. As soon as you start having the option to utilize various weapons, find at least 2 or 3 that you feel extra confident with. You are much more formidable lone wolf if you have your go-to weapons from the start. A little bit of word salad there. Word buffet, as it were. Without saying very much.
Yes, I see what you're saying. They churched it up a bit to say something relatively simple.
A little bit, yeah. They didn't really go over like weapon types. Like it's very broad, not very specific. Because it could just use a little bit of specificity. Just be like, hey, if you are playing solo, maybe consider having a melee weapon on hand as well as a small arm as well as a rifle. Because if you do something like that, that means if you ever run out of ammo, you have a backup. If you need to take out something big, you have your bigger weapon for that. And if you need to work out how to take out something in mid-range, you have something for that. So do that. Yeah. But I said it in too many words, so therefore it can't be one of the entries for this list.
Right. You didn't like put enough fluff in there either.
I'm anti-fluff. When it comes to, valuable information anyway.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds like you found the best weapons for your preferred playstyle.
It is, yeah. But I also know, like, you ran into that no ammo hump too, at like level 20, like 2025, something like that.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Right. Like, for whatever reason, I think it's a fairly common thing. Is like ammo starts to dwindle kind of around that window, and then like once you surpass that hump, I think it does get a little bit easier, right?
I feel like it's like enemies kind of start to become a bullet sponge. So I think it's a combination of there not being enough ammo, but you're also just using so much freaking ammo just to take down your enemies. Like that was one of the problems that I ran into when I was playing it, was that I was staying alive just fine, like the higher levels I was getting into. Like I didn't have a problem with survivability, but it just took so dang long to put down enemies. Like I'd burn through all my ammo in a single engagement sometimes. It's like, why? I put things in your face a bunch. You're still coming after me.
Just stop.
Just stop it.
Just stop breathing.
But I think...
Give me XP.
But I think I have to kind of agree, even though it's fluffed up and stuff, because one of the things that I was doing in Fallout 76, which I think is different, I think maybe than the standalone Fallout games, is that I was trying to be a jack of all trades. So I was never really super good with any one thing. So maybe the reason why I wasn't putting down enemies faster is because I was trying to spread out all my perks and experience and everything through everything instead of just focusing on like one weapon type and getting really good in it.
Yeah, 76 does make that a bit more difficult, I think. Maybe, like, I don't know how many people can relate to this, but like you've played D&D, you've played like a lot of CRPGs and stuff like that, and maybe tactical RPGs as well. If you do try to jack of all trades a character, they may not be very effective.
Yeah.
they can do a lot of things, but when it comes to like choosing their one thing, you're kind of stuck trying to put them in a spot or put them in a role. That was my first experience with Divinity Original Sin 2. I couldn't decide on my mage, like dual wielding wands type character. They ended up becoming kind of useless because I didn't know where to build them.
Yep.
So maybe 76 is kind of similar to that, like having kind of something in mind. On the upside, 76 is kind of built on the bones of Fallout 4. So like you can be like, oh, I want to do single shot rifles, and then boom, you can kind of build out your perk loadout and levels that way.
Yeah, but it definitely pays to consider that from the start.
Yes, it does. or just getting familiar with the game and then restarting.
Yeah, which is something I've thought about doing, actually.
Which I think I actually did at some point. But also I know it's not everybody's thing, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but starting out melee focused is great.
We know,
because you don't have to worry about ammo, and you don't have to worry about taking too much damage because you're building yourself to take hits and deal hits.
True.
And you can get quite a bit more caps from the NPCs too, because you're selling all the weapons that you don't need. Yeah, but of course, late game, I did end up getting into some specific weapon types just for their melting capabilities. Like the plasma flamer became insane in Fallout 76. I have.
Sorry.
Yes.
I was gonna say, is it a plausible or practical? Because playing melee sounds appealing to me, especially when I hear you talk about it. But when I play melee, I like to be stealthy. Does that work well with Fallout 76 to be like a ninja? Like, ooh, I got my melee weapon. I'm gonna sneak up and just whack, you're dead.
I think it is. It'll very much. I mean, sneaking in general does slow down your momentum and like leveling and stuff like that.
Okay.
But on the upside, if you do go the like agility, strength, endurance type of route, if you do get caught, no big deal. You're a sack of meat that is also spongy. So I don't know what I was trying to say there, but there you go.
Okay, all right. I think if I do start over, I'm gonna try to be a stealthy melee and see how that treats me. Because
big old meat sponge. Yep.
That's what I get when I go to Burger King. I want the meat sponge, please.
Yep. Give me the bone marrow. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna give this one 2 out of 5 nukes.
Oh, we are doing the nuke thing? Okay.
I don't know. That's what you said.
I was just talking out my butt.
All right, next one. Hey, I mentioned this.
Yay. Number 13, Pacifist Mode. Turning on Pacifist Mode in your options menu is a great place to start. Enabling Pacifist Mode disables your ability to damage other players. While this is helpful on a surface level, it goes a bit deeper. Players who still attack you regardless will find it more challenging to damage you significantly, and on top of that are branded a murderer on the map. Bounties are placed on these types of players to not only deter them from doing so, but the bounty incentivizes other good-natured players to come to your aid. Pacifist mode is a must, but doesn't completely erase the threat other players pose. Luckily, it's still just an option in settings, meaning you can turn it off and on as you please.
Yep.
I mean, it pretty much just described what pacifist mode is.
Yeah, it has been changed a little bit. Like, there's no there's no actual damage they do to you anymore. Like that got taken out pretty early.
Yeah.
So the only way in pacifist mode that you can get killed by another player is by claiming a workshop, which should have probably been mentioned too.
That probably would be useful.
Because I have pacifist mode on all the time. I don't feel like PvPing in 76.
Right.
Partially because it's bad. And partially because I get salty when I PvP without realizing.
Yes.
So yeah, if if you're playing 76, just turn on pacifist mode. It'll generally make the experience nicer, and it's super co-op, like made for co-op, even more so with the recent updates and stuff like that.
Yeah. I personally
like
like
a lot of the dungeons and stuff.
I personally like it because it just makes it feel more like a Fallout game.
Yeah, that too.
I've never been like, oh, I want a PvP. I mean, in general, that's my attitude towards PvP. But especially in a Fallout game, I don't know. It just definitely makes, for me, it's definitely, I mean, like it says, pacifist mode is a must, and for me, that's actually a pretty true statement. And for you as well, as it sounds.
Oh yeah. Even though I do still occasionally, I mean, it's seldom now because I rarely boot up 76, but every once in a while I do like hop over to a workshop, and then maybe there was some bug or something like that, but somebody was like, hey, you claim my workshop, even though on my map it said it was unclaimed, and they teleported to me after I claimed the workshop and then killed me. And I was like, well,
okay,
I think that may be on the game's end. Also, I still feel salty about it.
yes you do.
Because then who do I get mad at? Do I get mad at the player for just like coming to take their workshop back, if that's the case, or do I get annoyed at the developers for like not having it register on my end that was already claimed?
Right.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I take it a step further though, and I don't know if it's mentioned in this article because I haven't looked at it. But I when I played, I did the Fallout first thing. Like to me, to pay what $12 a month or whatever to absolutely have no chance of running into other people is worth it. And is worth it to me at least.
Yeah. And yeah, you get no interruptions, but on the other hand, if you are a brand new player, I was talking about outliers because generally the 76 community is really welcoming and will encumber you with the amount of gifts that they want to give you.
Oh, that's cool.
Generally these kinds of things, like loading you down with ammo that you may not even need, but also giving you stim packs and food and stuff like that, so you can like kind of jumpstart your 76 adventure. So
I don't know how I feel about that, Caedo.
What?
I don't want someone giving me all the things that I need in a game that it's, you know, like is kind of like based on you surviving in a post-apocalyptic scenario. I feel like it kind of takes away from the experience if someone just hands you a bunch of goodies and sends you on your way. That's just me though, and I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I couldn't tell if you were doing a bit.
I mean, it kind of was, but at the same time, I kind of do feel that way.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's fine then.
It's like to compare like playing like an MMO or something, and you join a friend who's been playing it for like years, and then you jump in and like, here's all this stuff that you don't have to work for. And it's like, oh, well, now I don't feel like I'm as rewarded as a player playing a game anymore because I didn't earn these things. They were just given to me. Whereas if I'm a player starting out and I have to work, it's like when you start off in 76, like it's pretty bare bones. You kind of have to scrap a little bit if you don't know what you're doing, which is me. And I kind of like that though, because it's a post-apocalyptic world. Like it makes sense so to me it's more of a like immersive experience.
What?
You can get your immersive experience by going over to Caedo's merch shop and buying that immersive merch.
Get a sticker.
Get a sticker.
Put it on your PC.
Get immersed.
Get that adhesive on there. Never take it off.
Yeah. Who needs a resale value anyways? But generally, and this is just me specifically, and this isn't like an ideology or anything like that. Like this, as a person, like I don't cheat in games because to me it deters from the value of the game, and I don't like people handing me stuff. Like it's just like
it feels like cheating, is what you're saying.
It kind of feels like cheating without actually cheating, but it just cheapens the experience a little bit. And to me, video games is all about the experience, you know. So, anyways,
but you opted to play solo anyway through Fallout first, so
yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Well, listeners, if you're paying attention, is pacifist mode a must? I think so. I think this is a 5 bombs out of 5.
Yeah.
I hope somebody else is writing down score, because I'm not writing it down.
I'm the only other one here, Caedo, and I haven't.
I'm pointing at you, commenter, who's listening right now to me. You, one commenter who's paying attention. Who's keeping score? This guy. And I'm pointing into space.
Yes.
Oh, hey, you'd like this one too.
Oh.
Number 12, avoid other players. This entry may seem obvious, but it could prove crucial for single players. Utilizing the map, players can see every individual player on the same server. Other players are represented by small dots revealing their username and level. Excuse me. For some, never seeing another player may be preferred, as their usual immersion relies on them being a lone wanderer of the wastes. Utilizing the map may not be always be a perfect answer for avoiding potential dangers of other players. Again, of other players instead of potential dangers and other players. Still, it will improve your odds and get players used to using the map, something crucial for this style of game regardless of playstyle. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. There's 20 players to a map in a public game. Your odds of running into them, unless you're going to like the White Spring, like any of the major hub areas, pretty rare that you're going to run into another player. Workshops, again, like I was saying, like sometimes you can bump into other players at workshops and they may try to kill you if you're claiming it.
Right.
But workshops also give you a lot of stuff when you claim them, so you know there's that. Or you could just get Fallout first and not worry about that at all.
Yep.
There's a lot of options here, but this, I think this one's kind of a no-brainer. Like I want to give this a 1.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like it should be not avoid other players, but utilize the map. Should be this entry. It talks more about utilizing the map than actually avoiding players, I feel like.
Yeah, and the map is good and useful in 76. So, yeah. And it's also got more functions for like multiple camps and stuff like that too, which is cool.
It's very useful. Plus, it's a cool looking map, really.
It is. Very much is. It's one of the like most environmentally diverse maps ever in a Fallout game, which I like a lot.
Yeah, it's really nice. I've only explored maybe a fourth of the freaking game too. Like, I need to play more.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're up next.
Okay.
What's the next one?
We're on a roll of these all kind of being similar. 11. Avoid public events. Public events don't evoke playing alone. Public events are meant for multiplayer parties to participate in and involve several other players converging to one spot at once. Players may want to give it a shot regardless, simply due to the rewards. Public events offer good loot and experience points. Single player players may be willing to forego their immersion if in need, but it's worth knowing that these events are usually relatively entertaining. However, those committed to going the solo route all the way through should avoid them.
Yep.
I both agree with this and disagree.
Oh, do tell.
As someone who has pretty much exclusively played solo, again with Fallout first, where there are no other players, but there are still public events. And yes, some of these public events prove much more challenging alone. You can still enjoy some of them. Like, obviously, there's going to be some where you're fighting like a big boss or something. And in fact, that has happened to me where I was cruising through a building, a lab, I think, and at the end, there's like a super mutant with a Gatling gun. You know, I don't know if that's too broad of a description for you to know what I'm talking about. And I can't describe it any more than that because I don't remember. But like, he whooped me. Like, I could not beat him. Like, he was tearing me to pieces, so I got the heck out of there. It might have been the end of one of the vaults, actually. I can't remember.
Oh,
there was like a super mutant or someone at the end of a thing with a big gun, and I was doing very little damage, and he was ripping me to shreds, and I got the heck out of there. I guess it wasn't really a public event though, so I'm actually I know I have done some public events that were similar though, where they're just a little bit too difficult for a single person.
yeah.
But there are plenty of events that you can do still. You just gotta be a little more careful. But you can still do them.
There's a lot of events that run like constantly in 76.
And you can always go back and do them when you've leveled up, because the public events still happen. So like a public event that requires you to be level 5, you could level up to like level 20 and be like, hey, I want to go do that event that I passed on before, because now I can walk through it as a level 20 whatever and be just fine. We still get to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a solo purist, yeah, obviously avoid public spaces. But yeah, I don't know. This is somewhat average, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if you use your brain for a little bit, you can probably figure this out if you're playing by yourself. Because it says public on the event. What does public mean? What is the definition of public? So I guess, I don't know, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5,
2.5.
2.5 bombs.
Sure.
What happens if you cut a bomb in half, though? Isn't that dangerous?
It depends on if it's armed.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I'm not an expert.
Okay. Number 10. Strength build to start. Melee and shotguns. Ooh!
Oh, this is perfect.
Ooh, this is great. Investing in your melee skill early on almost guarantees that you will do reasonably significant damage right away. And always having a weapon at the ready is smart. Melee weapons are a dime a dozen in these wastes, and ammo crunching simply doesn't apply to them. On top of always having a melee weapon, investing in shotguns makes you prone to doing considerable damage early on in more ways than one. Also, if aiming is a pain, shotguns could be the way to go, regardless. Who doesn't enjoy a good shotgun? Also, of note, 76 has a pump action shotgun, and it is very fun to use. So, and I don't think there was any pump action shotguns in the newer games, like the Bethesda ones, until 76. So, yeah, it's fun. Well, this goes over kind of what I was already talking about earlier. A portion of it, which, if you use a weapon that doesn't require ammo, you're gonna be great, because you're obviously gonna run into small stuff that don't need to use all your bullets. You just get your machete out and whack and you win.
Now,
so
there's weapon like health, right? I can't think of a better way to say that. Like your guns deteriorate and you got to repair them.
Durability?
Melee weapons are the same, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, melee weapons have durability as well. Repairs aren't that bad though, if I remember correctly. Especially for a lot of the earlier ones. I think it's just some, I want to say it's some metal and leather. It's been a very long time, and I've played a lot of Valheim.
Fishing?
And Valheim, yeah, dude. Valheim also doesn't like use materials to repair your stuff. So
which is very nice.
Oh, it's so nice, dude. Imagine if you had to use more metal to repair your stuff.
Like, no, I gotta go make another trip to the mining area and get more metal.
That'd be so awful. Yeah. 76's resources also aren't finite, whereas Valheim's are. So, even though there's a lot. So anyway, yeah, that's a 5 out of 5.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I mean, it's actually helpful. So
I'm definitely gonna try it
for solo players. So, and building for strength is good for literally any build because you're going to be picking up a lot of stuff, and also if you're new to the game, you're probably not going to know like what things are useful. So you're probably just going to pick up all the junk items and then take them back to your camp. The more strength you have, the more you can do that.
Yes.
So
it's very nice.
And hoarding is a way of life.
Yes. It is not a reality TV show in this world. It is life.
Yeah, it is life. It's lifestyle. Number 9.
Yes,
Jared,
number 9.
What was that one?
Well, let me tell you. Number 9, follow the main quest for a while. Sticking to the main quest and related side quests for a moderate amount of time guarantees that new players will understand their place in the world, fun new unique lore, and a lot of the basics revolving around this unconventional Fallout title. Following this line of quests also assists with acquiring workbench plans early on. It is worth noting that rewards do scale to your level. Taking that as it is, having rewards scaled proves both valuable and troubling. Following other quest lines will give you similar loot and rewards, but won't offer the benefits of learning the plans mentioned above, though the rewards will be way more fruitful the higher your level. So, finding a balance between reward scaling and learning the basics while completing the main quest could prove very useful.
It got a little complicated toward the end.
It did. It wants me to like consider all these things.
That's a lot of things to consider for
a new player,
a solo player starting out. Well, fortunately, 76 as it is now, and they have a screenshot of the Wayward, the Wayward Souls mission, which leads you directly to the Wayward and the main storyline because Wastelanders was and is awesome. So, it's a great way to show the player how things work, and I think people should do the main story as they can because it's invaluable. And yes, you do get plans that are necessary, or I shouldn't say necessary, but good and useful for like constructing your own little camp too.
Yeah.
So
the way I always play a lot of open world games, but especially 76 is like I will follow the main quest line, but then I'll do all the stuff, like a little stuff along the way, but I use the main quest line as sort of a guideline to give me a direction. As fun as just going out and exploring is, it's still nice to have kind of a general direction, something telling you go this way. It eliminates the need to wing it, I guess. It's a good way of putting it. So I use the main quest line, even though it is much more, there's quests are much more interesting, like you said, because of Wastelanders and stuff.
For sure.
I use them more as like, oh, that's the point I need to get to, so I need to explore everything between where I am now and that location. And then when I get there, I do the quest and then rinse and repeat. And I just that's how I kind of do it. I kind of agree, but I definitely feel like, I don't know, following the main quest line for a while, why wouldn't you want to do the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, there can be some difficulty blocks, kind of later on when you start working with the raiders and the sellers.
Okay. I haven't got there, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm still technically a new player.
Could be a little more than that, and also like when you get to that point, the grind also starts to appear where you're or the reputation grind starts to appear where you're just like, okay, well, I want to help these guys, and you can end up upping your reputation with both of them, but however you end the quest line kind of determines where you get a bigger boost.
Okay.
To start with. But yeah, after that point, the dailies that you can do for those are pretty monotonous after a bit.
Yeah. Go figure.
Yeah. It's an online game. It has that. But the story stuff leading up to that obviously is really cool.
Yeah.
And then when they get to the end game stuff, then it kind of like tapers off. You're just like, okay, what's the next content?
Typical online type of game.
Yeah. So the first part, sticking to the main quest for a while, or for as long as you can, is decent.
Yeah.
Do that. But the other stuff in the second paragraph just confuses the whole point.
It feels again like a little bit more fluff, like just more words to make the article paragraph a little longer.
Yeah. I've done that in some of my guides too, like over explained like some certain aspect of doing a thing, and then I'm like, well, the point is now lost. after I look back at it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, whoops. Lost them on that one. Lost myself on that one. Okay, number 8.
This is funny that this is yours.
This is appropriate.
Yeah.
Super appropriate that this is mine. Number 8, don't hoard. This time around, having more of a survival element means players won't carry as much or save everything they find. Most things that have been weightless in your inventory in past games now have some bulk to them. Yes, even bobby pins. That is no longer true, I don't think.
Interesting.
Or they're very, very light. They either weigh nothing or they're extremely light now. I don't remember which. Anyway, more importantly, stocking up on every ammo type imaginable won't be ideal, so sticking to a few specific types you are using at the moment would be much more effective. On top of that, players can scavenge or craft other types if desired, if they come across a new shiny weapon that piques their interest. Kind of all over the place, not talking about things that actually weigh you down. Also perks that reduce the weight of certain things, like those become pretty essential later on in the game. Like the chems and food ones. But there's also like legendary effects that give you that too, which is freaking awesome. It says don't hoard, but you kind of need to for materials. That's kind of the whole game.
Yeah.
Anytime you need to repair a weapon, build your camp, craft new gear, like everything uses the crafting system and you need materials to do so. Hoarding is important, but also if you don't have Fallout First in the scrap box, yes, I suppose you may need to limit your levels of hoarding. So maybe if you hit 1,000 steel, anything past that, probably want to throw on the ground. Something along those lines. And the ammo thing is important to keep in mind too. Like if you're and like for me, if you're primarily a melee user, you don't need ammo most of the time, so you can either throw it in your stash box or just give it to a player passing by. If you're sacrificing your solo experience for a couple minutes. Or just leave it on the ground on like a main road or something. I've done that occasionally, just leaving stuff in front of the wayward because players go through there all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's where my camp is too. I do like an introductory camp for new players, just to be like, hey, here's a couple stim packs, here's some ammo for whatever gun you're using, and then send them on their way. But yeah, don't hoard. That is, I want to give that 1 out of 5 bombs.
Yeah, I feel like it would be better if it was hoard, but maybe be like more tactful about it.
Yeah. Strategically hoard.
Yes, strategic hoarding.
I like this thing, but not this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's strategic hoarding. Like, I use melee and grenades. So give me all the grenades. I will throw away all the ammo.
There you go. I dig it.
Boom. Like the grenades.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's number 7?
Number 7, level up however you can. Yes, it's obvious. However, those playing single player should target even higher levels than expected. You won't have others to rely on, as the game assumes. Therefore, grinding before attempting anything dire may be beneficial. Admittedly, grinding may become an annoyance, but utilizing this to experiment with other activities could also prove useful. Doing nearly anything gives your character experience points. Cooking, discovering locations, building, and crafting are all extremely beneficial and rewarding experiences. As you approach essential segments in the main quest, you'll need to be relatively higher level. I think we kind of already talked about this too, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
About, especially concerning like the public events, doing those solo, just like, don't do the hard ones, come back when you're higher level. But it's kind of basic like information anyways for any kind of leveling based video game where everything doesn't necessarily scale with you. Like if you're fighting something you can't fight, then don't, and then come back when you're bigger and whoop them.
Yeah. I think it does. I mean, the one wasteland thing did happen, so things are supposed to scale with you, but some things are designed for level 50 plus. And that should have been mentioned here too, is level 50 is where like the scaling kind of stops and you're at end game basically, and then all the levels after that you start getting more perk cards to like fill out your build the way you want it.
Okay.
And also legendary perk cards after level 50, which are extremely powerful. And with legendary perk cards, you can basically recycle the perk cards you don't want and get perk coins or whatever, and then spend those coins on legendary perks. It's kind of a neat system. But yes, leveling up is obvious.
I mean, I would agree that doing all those other things, that not just fighting is going to give you experience. So like,
not just fighting and questing.
Yeah,
because those are the obvious ones.
Yeah, those are the obvious ones. Yeah, I mean, so I would agree that there are other ways to skin a cat, including skinning cats. Because it's Fallout, and I don't think you actually do that, and I wouldn't, but. Just throwing that out there. I love cats.
I won't skin a cat.
I don't hurt like cats and dogs. It's not happening. But no, I think overall I more or less agree with this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would say at least 3 out of 5 nukes on this one. I mean,
3 out of 5 nukes.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
Also, I failed to mention for the one person that's keeping score, follow the main quest for a while. I think I was gonna give that one like a 4.
Okay.
If that's cool.
Did we not rate that? I don't even remember.
I don't think we did. I kept thinking about it like we didn't. So
it's very important that we do these scores, Caedo.
Yeah, scorekeeper. There you go.
Because boy, wait till you guys see what happens at the end with the score. I think I just clickbaited us. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm just gonna. I want to be honest and transparent here.
You won't believe what happens at the end card.
Yes, insert red circle with arrow pointing at surprised face.
And then you just skip to the end of the video, and then it's just the
There's
end.
nothing there. Oh gosh.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah. Number six. Man, we're taking a while to get through these. We should rapid fire a couple of these.
I know.
Number 6, Lone Wanderer perk. There is a perk in the Charisma skill tree called Lone Wanderer. Not only does this card's name revel in the single player mindset, but this perk buffs your damage reduction and adds faster action point regeneration when traveling solo. This card is available exceptionally early on too. It requires 4 points invested in Charisma, but those familiar with the special skill tree and the cards will know that it is very doable from the get-go. It's also pretty refreshing that this perk card exists for the familiar title and for the players expected to favor this type of playstyle. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sarge sings praises of this perk card often.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because he likes being a solo man as well. Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, again, it just makes sense. Like, if you're playing solo, why wouldn't you like take advantage of everything you can to make that experience more doable?
Yeah. The only thing that gave me pause probably when I first started was the amount of points you have to put into Charisma.
Right.
As opposed to, I could put those points into Strength.
Right.
Because I like being strong.
And to be fair, 10% isn't really a whole lot. I mean,
that is only the first rank, though.
This is true.
I think it tops out at either 25 or 30%. I don't remember.
That's definitely better.
Or maybe 20%. Gosh, now I have to look at it.
How long is it going to take you to get those other cards to upgrade it? That's the thing.
Yeah. Don't you get to choose?
I don't know. I remember, I'm fairly new at the game.
Because you get the perk card packs every 5 levels, but
it's random, isn't it? Like, that's one of the things that I dislike about Fallout 76, honestly. And maybe I'm putting a target on myself for saying this, but I don't like the perk system in Fallout 76. I hate it. I hate the RNG of it. Like, I want to be a certain thing and do things a certain way, and I can't because I don't have the cards to do it.
There's got to be a card picking thing somewhere. I'm pretty sure there is.
I don't.
Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, rank 3, when adventuring alone, take 20% less damage and gain 30% AP regen.
That's not bad.
So it's 20% and 30%. That's really good.
Yeah.
If you can get that perk card.
Do it.
5 out of 5 bombs.
Dang.
Yep.
You're just scared.
I'm speaking for Sarge today. Yeah. He missed his shot because I just complimented his mindset.
Dang.
Yep.
What's that movie with the curved bullets? You just did that.
Wanted?
That's it. You just curved that bullet.
I need to see that again. That movie's freaking bonkers. I love it.
It's such an appropriate film for the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, in the essence of moving on quicker, let's move on to number 5. Focus on food and explosives. Sounds familiar. With weightless items becoming nearly non-existent, players need to pick and choose what to keep in their limited inventory. With ammo being reasonably hard to come by early on, focusing on food and explosives could prove very useful. With food, buffs stack and last at least 30 minutes each. Explosives could be what saves a solo player. They pack a punch. So if surrounded, laying down a bunch of mines or explosives of choice could be what keeps you alive. Wait for enemies to bunch up and send them flying. I mean,
yeah, it's valuable information, but explosives are heavy if you carry stacks of them.
Mm-hmm. Especially mines.
Yeah. So the second point kind of cancels out the first point.
Plus, they want me to hoard explosives. They just said not to.
Yeah. I'm beginning to see that there may be two different writers.
Interesting.
Some of it's useful, like food buffs are extremely useful in 76. Like it was kind of designed that way from the get-go, and then like the starvation penalties were removed, and you just get bonuses.
Okay.
You just get bonuses or not.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Like you can be completely out of water and food and you'll be fine.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's like Valheim.
Hey. It's almost like
except it doesn't directly affect your health and stamina.
It's almost like they wanted to make the game more approachable to people or something.
Oh, weird, odd, strange. Yeah, they went from softcore survival to just a Fallout game.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm okay with it, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Me too, definitely.
So, what do you think for this one?
Focus on food and explosives. The headline for it is great. They made a point about picking and choosing with limited inventory, so I'm gonna give this a 2 or a 3.
I would agree with a 2.
Okay, 2 out of 5 bombs.
Boom.
For focus on food and explosives because of the weightless items becoming nearly non-existent. Players need to pick and choose, and then immediately following up with bring explosives because explosives are heavy. Number 4. Is it my turn? It's my turn.
It is.
Okay. Invest in luck. One special skill perk to invest in is luck. While it may seem a bit odd compared to the others, single players could reap some genuine benefits. Improving your luck skill and choosing the perks that enhance the number of items found dramatically increases your chances of staying stocked accordingly. The perk card Pharma grants a 40% chance to find more chems when looting. Scrounger and Can Do the same thing for ammo and canned food, respectively. Respectively is probably what they meant to say. Luck is also just an all-around fun perk to invest in. Luck is an attribute, not a perk. I think... Oh, it is 40% chance. Yeah, you don't need a rank any higher for any of these either. Like, they pop off regularly if you have them. So yeah, this is useful if you have the attributes to spare. Because again, like when we're talking about like having a build in mind kind of thing, like being very valuable to know going in.
Right.
Because jack of all tradesing it kind of can spread you a little too thin. But luck means you'll have a lot of useful items coming to you pretty regularly.
Yeah, I think
So.
I think I started investing in luck a bit more as I started playing further in my playthrough of playing it. As I started realizing that it might be useful to actually find stuff, or more chance of finding stuff, or better stuff, or more stuff, or whatever.
Yeah, the food one, the Can Do one, also works for trash cans too, or trash cans and dumpsters.
Okay.
And canned coffee is like one of the best AP like food items in the game.
Okay.
Just gonna throw that out there because it is amazing. And I wish I had it from the beginning, just set in my luck slot. Because Can Do and canned coffee is freaking amazing.
Good to know.
I'm
learning a lot, by the way.
Oh, well, happy to assist if I'm a part of that.
Yes, of course.
But if the article's part of that, it's good on them too, I guess.
It's mostly you.
Oh, okay.
And if you're listening, you can learn too by going and watching all of Caedo's videos on Fallout stuff.
It's just all of them. I look back on like Social Blade and it's like 1,150 something odd videos or uploads. And I'm like,
dang.
wow. Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah.
just a couple videos
Yeah, just
that
a
I
few.
put up. But I did do some on 76 and some of them still do hold up. So
There you go.
yeah.
So what, you think this is like a 3?
I'd give this one a 4
Give
or
it a
5.
4? Okay.
These
all
are
right.
useful. These are useful perks to have. So
All right.
we'll say 4 bombs. 4 bombs out of 5.
Boom, 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 boom.
Fairly useful,
That was 4 booms.
but not. Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this one I have less experience with, but number 3 is check out other people's camp shops. While other players won't always be helpful to you, their home camps might. Steal everything while they're not there, essentially. I know. Oftentimes, other players on the server will have shop setups selling items like ammo, blueprints, and weapons or armor with legendary effects. These items are sometimes sold for a great value since they are leftovers or duplicates of items they already have. If you're lucky, you might even get ammo for free.
What?
Why not turn that capitalistic kindness in kind? By this point, you're well aware of how often you come across equipment and ammo. You could set up your own camp store, selling items and equipment you gathered but don't need. It's a great way to help out fellow vault dwellers, potentially making yourself some extra caps in the process.
Yes.
Is this a thing, Caedo? Because I don't know. I don't play with other. I don't play with other people.
Yeah, you can set up a vendor.
I mean, is it a
machine
good thing?
And oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, like they were saying, a good part of why 76's community is so cool is because a lot of the time, like late game, you are swimming in ammo.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a certain type of ammo that you don't use, people do sometimes just throw it in their vending machine for no cost whatsoever, and like anybody can come by and just grab it out of there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is good. Definitely an improvement. It just took them a long time to add the vending machines to the game.
Oh, so before that, people just throwing stuff on the ground like you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, pretty much. Or doing the janky trade window between players, which is just not good.
Even still.
I haven't tried it since the vending machines
Okay.
and like throwing stuff on the ground kind of coincided.
That's fair.
But I do remember us waiting a very long time for those vending machines, and also just a myriad of bugs that came along with them too.
Of course.
But they work now, so you know,
It just
vending machines,
works.
woo. Yep. But is this in the spirit of the list?
Not really,
No.
because the whole list is about playing solo, and yeah, this completely undermines playing solo. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't, because you can still play solo and still visit people's shops. I don't know.
Yeah. But what if there's people there?
Ew.
Yeah. What if they wave at me?
Ick.
What if they make finger guns?
Gross.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, no, that's just me in real life. Whoops.
So maybe 2 out of 5 bombs?
I mean, yeah,
Or
because
3 out of 5?
yeah, maybe like maybe let's say 3, just because we don't
3?
do too many 3s.
Because it is still useful, but
I can
It's
see
not.
the usefulness of it. I just will probably never experience it.
if it's maybe a point of desperation, you're like, man, I really need 556 like right now,
Yeah.
and they just pop over to a public game, run to some of the camp, or teleport to some of the camps, because you can just fast travel to like other players' camps if they have vendors up.
Can you play between, like, if I have a Fallout First character, I can just load that same character onto a public server and then
Oh yeah,
I did not know that.
yes.
I thought you were
Yeah.
relegated to one or the other if you chose.
No, it's just the Fallout worlds that like doesn't have any player progression type stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, like between private and public worlds, like you can take the same character.
Oh, that's cool. See, I told you I'm
Yeah.
learning, man.
Yeah, dude.
I dig it.
It's quite a game, that 76. Okay. Number 2, area too strong, consider stealth. Here we go. It's something we were talking about earlier too.
Indeed.
In a game world designed around multiple players and groups, you'll inevitably encounter areas or challenges that are simply too powerful. And while going in guns a-blazing is a lot of fun, it's not a strategy that tends to last very long. When stuck between a rock and a hard mutant, there's one thing left to do: hide. I don't like how they phrase that. Anyway, stealthing effectively opens the door for a few life-saving mechanics. You can heal slowly from items like food and salve. You have enough time to change weapons and equip explosives, and you can deal sneak attack damage. We've launched nukes on our own using this method. It's a slow one though. If your problem is time sensitive, this may not be the best approach. Period O.
Yeah, I don't. That must be a typo, right?
That's a typo, yeah. 1 bomb out of 5. The typos threw me off. I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, this does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You already talked about, encountering something that you weren't really geared out for yet.
So the example I can think of is like when I was playing, I happened to have some stealth boys on me, and I was in an area where there was one of those flying. I can't think of the name, and I'm sorry for not remembering names of stuff. What were those big flying?
Scorch Beast?
Yep, one of those. And it was attacking like a group of raiders or something. And I was like, oh, neat. I can just like watch this from a good distance and I'll be fine. Incorrect. Because once the bandits were dead, it came after me. And I was like, no, I'm too low level. And I was doing like no damage to it. So popped the stealth boy and like just ran until I was like out of its range. It took like a couple of stealth boys actually because it was still coming after me, but it saved me.
Mm-hmm.
I lived through the encounter. So I would tend to agree with this just based on my own personal experience.
Yes. Are you too strong? Hide.
Yeah.
Is that a 4 or a 5?
I mean, I say a 4.
4 nukes out of 5.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's 4.
That's 4.
And
all right.
Finally.
Yes.
This seems like a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. You'd think 15 points would go fast, but boy, we have a lot to say.
We had a lot
apparently.
to talk about. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a podcast after all.
Yeah. Give the listeners the airtime they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
You got it.
Yeah, okay, so number 1, participate in nuke drops. Yes, we mentioned avoiding group events, but this is the exception. Wow, what a cop-out. Anyway, whenever a nuke launch is announced, participate in the upcoming radioactive showdown. Suit up either in a rad suit or power armor, and wait outside of the blast range. When it drops, the area will be full of powerful creatures, many of them legendary. When defeated, they will drop weapons and armor with legendary effects. Even better is when this happens by the lair of the Scorch Beast Queen in the southeast corner of the map. The queen herself is pretty hard to defeat, but if you and everyone else succeed in taking her down, the rewards are some of the best in the game. You don't need to kill them yourself. As long as you deal damage, you are guaranteed their loot. Go around, shoot everything you can, and hope that the larger team will finish them off. Stay moving and healed up, and you should survive just fine. So, what do you think of this one?
I think
as a solo player.
No.
No?
Because it completely defeats the entirety of this entire article.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, be solo and avoid groups, but not this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of seems, a little cheap.
This would be useful for if the list was for just new players.
Right.
Or, being like, okay, if you hit around level 20, probably more like around level 30, that is the time to pay attention to when the nukes are dropping in the southeast corner of the map, and then joining the event, because you will reap benefits from it. If you survive.
Right.
Maybe even if you don't. I'm pretty sure you get rewards regardless, as long as you're in the event radius, and it's huge. So
participation points.
Basically. For a solo player, even though that is kind of where the Appalachia extinction kind of arc ends. Because of how it works now for Wastelanders, I don't even think it's necessary.
Okay.
Like at all, because you meet up with the Overseer relatively early, right? Yeah, so like you don't even need to really. With a lot of the like detective-y type of stuff, like I don't think you have to do most of it, including like the Scorch Beast Queen stuff.
I mean,
So,
I guess if you're a completionist and a solo player, you might do this.
I mean, completionist solo player in a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
I think you've set a trap for yourself if you're doing that.
It's a trap.
But if you're going solo, then like it's not at all necessary to, like, I'm going complete opposite direction of this number one. You don't have to fight the Scorch Beast Queen. There is plenty of stuff that you can get, especially with the Wastelanders quests.
Yeah. And again, like if you're like me who plays Fallout first and there is no other people, this really isn't even an option, because like there will be no other groups to carry you through this event, which is essentially what this is saying. It's like, let bigger, more equipped and experienced players carry you through this event so you can get a bunch of goodies, which again to me kind of cheapens the experience. It's like, if I'm going to experience this event, I'm going to do it with other players, because that's how it was meant to be played. And if I just let other players do all the work for me and I reap the rewards, why did I even do it? Like, to me, it just makes no sense as a solo player.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a certain amount of like, you kind of have to create your own mindset when you play solo in a multiplayer game, because obviously a multiplayer game is meant to be played with other people, and you're kind of creating an environment for yourself as a solo player, which doesn't technically exist because it's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So
also, if you are playing solo, I would advise not attempting the Queen event.
Duly noted.
Because first of all, you would have to drop the nuke yourself, which would take a while. And then the Queen fight has like a 30-minute timer, and if you can't get that damage up, like,
it just resets.
You just fail.
Oh,
after the timer's up. So yeah, same with the Earl fight, which is like it's a secondary, like, underground kind of thing. But similar to the Queen fight, it's very much a raid, but it's up to 8 players maximum instead of like the whole server.
I feel like doing any of the events that are time sensitive are going to be difficult for a solo player.
Yes.
Because I've experienced that myself, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this event, and it seems like I could probably handle it, but you've only got like 30 minutes, which seems like a lot, but until you start actually doing it, and you're like, holy crap, this is taking way too long by myself, and then the time runs out, and you're like, good, I wasted all that time because the quest is just over now.
Yeah. Also, for any newbies who are, looking into 76 and playing it, there is a lot of good there, but also another event to just completely avoid is any of the power plant ones. Do not do those.
That was one of the ones.
They are that's what came to mind when you were talking about it, so I'm glad I was right in assuming. Because they are a huge waste of time.
Yeah.
Because all they do when you power them up is provide like a small power source to nearby settlement or nearby workshops, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
Or provide enough power to run anything, I guess. But you can just build generators.
Right. Who needs nuclear power in the future when we've got noisy generators?
Yes, noisy generators are great. And later you can learn your own fusion power or fusion generators anyway. So.
Ooh, that's nice. I'm gonna rate this a 1.
Yeah, this is a 1.
Maybe even half of a point of a bomb.
It's a half a point. Yeah, it's a half bomb.
Phew.
Participate in nuke drops. No. Not for the solo experience.
How dare you suggest such a thing? Wow,
I can say though, like dropping a nuke on something from a bunker is really fun.
I'm sure it is.
Because you can pick a spot. Like it's not anywhere predetermined. You can just be like, this spot on the map, it gets nuked.
Nice.
Like there's no other Fallout game you've been able to do that, and 76 does that. And it's freaking awesome.
That is pretty cool.
But going through the bunker and getting the codes is a pain in the butt. So if you do that, I have a bot on my Discord server named Modus, where you can just type in greater than and codes and get the nuclear codes, so you don't have to code break
Nice.
yourself.
Sounds like cheating, Caedo.
Once you learn how much actual code breaking you have to do, you're gonna want to.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. And that they apparently change every single week too. So
great.
Yeah. Online game, persistent world, man. So that was our 76, well, not our, the gamers, Fallout 76 15 tips for playing solo, with a massive cop out at number 1.
God,
I do believe that may have ruined the whole list.
I think that may, yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Top tip for playing solo: don't.
Hey, wait a minute.
That's what the list says.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yes, that's what the list says, but that is wrong.
Yeah. This had some good ones throughout the list, but number 1 is not.
Yeah.
So, scorekeeper, our final score is, thank you very much. Look forward to, I guess, whatever the next the gamer thing we do, or next actual topic I spitball to the guys, and maybe we do that. I don't know. But before we head off, let's talk about what we are doing and stuff. And Jared, what have you been playing and or doing over the last 2 weeks in the brand new year too?
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's a brand new year. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just started playing. Actually, I just got Game Pass again. I haven't had it in a little while, but I haven't. Again, I'm at a point where I've been having a hard time finding something to play. I'm like, there's a
So
bunch.
now you have more things to play.
More. And I was really in the mood for kind of a more casual experience, so I decided to start playing Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Heck yeah, dude.
And I mean, what's more casual than freaking Legos, right?
The Lego games are just great.
Yeah, it's just easy, good fun.
Great,
and that's
super cash games.
It's what I wanted. I didn't want to think too hard about something. I didn't want a super huge learning curve. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with that. And yeah, I played it till quite late last night and was having a good time with it. And I'm probably gonna play it
awesome
when we're done here, probably. And then I also picked up something that I've had my eye on for a while and just hadn't ever gotten it, and it's Cloudpunk.
Cloudpunk.
Yeah, it's like a cyberpunk. What's the style, like voxel? Is that a term? Where it's kind of blocky, everything, not like Minecraft, but
I think that is the term.
I think it is.
Oh yeah, I remember the aesthetic of this one.
Yeah, and I've only just started playing it, so I don't have a lot to say about it yet. But you run around in a little car, like a flying car, like Blade Runner style, and you're a person who like delivers quote unquote packages to people. You know, don't ask questions kind of packages. So I don't really know where that's leading yet, because I literally only played like maybe 15-20 minutes of it. So 35 minutes actually, according to Steam. But I'm digging it. Say what you want about Cyberpunk Game of the Year, Cyberpunk 2027. I do like Cyberpunk as a genre, and I do want more, and I'm hoping this is going to scratch that itch a little bit. It's got
Yeah.
great reviews, and I've heard a lot about it when it first came out. People were really raving about it. I'm just now getting on board with it, so I will maybe have more to say next PIPCAST as I've had time to play it.
Ooh.
We will see. Only time will
Okay.
tell. Other than that, I haven't really been playing anything of note. I've been kind of trying to make it through my Steam library and just playing stuff that I haven't actually played. That's kind of slowed down a little bit recently because I've been really working hard on, and I think I mentioned it in the 100th episode where I was going to start doing like daily uploads again and
Oh,
really crack
yeah.
down on like content for the channel. So that's what I've been doing.
Get cracking.
Get cracking, get cranking, and grinding, and all those other words. So, and so far it's been okay. I haven't done any like live streams or anything, but I didn't promise that I was gonna do live streams either. I only promised that I would try to do live streams. But as far as like the first week of the new year here, I've kept my word so far. A video every day, some of them short, some of them long. Yeah, so far I think it's gonna be doable. I don't think I'm gonna burn out if I do it the right way.
Okay. Well, that's, I mean, to me, I can yell about it all day, but to me it's very important to like not get to that workload that you're just like and then you have to like pump the brakes for, you know, upwards of a few months just to, you know, feel sane again. Because I've done that a few times myself.
Anytime anything becomes a burden or a drudgery is never good, especially if it's something that you know, legitimately enjoy doing. And like doing videos and stuff on little indie horror games and stuff, I genuinely enjoy doing. I get a chance to explore games that most people probably don't even know about, because most people just pay attention to AAA titles, and there's a whole world out there of indie games just waiting to be discovered. So that's pretty much all I've been doing and working on, man. How about you?
I wanted to ask a follow-up question before I get to my stuff.
Sure.
You mentioned in your, I think it's your channel update, I think something like that.
Okay.
That you were looking into, or mentioning that there is a kind of a limit to how many, you know, indie horror games are out there, and wanting to expand a little bit to, you know, other like indie stuff besides just horror stuff.
Yeah.
Is that planned into your like week thing, like one of the days or 2 of the days or something like that? Or
it's not like
you're like not quite there yet?
I don't have like a set day for non-horror. I put that out there as a way of saying like, hey, eventually, occasionally there might be non-horror games. Because I've run into this problem a lot. It's one of the reasons why I stopped doing daily uploads. It's just because like there's only so many games out there, and you're kind of at the mercy of indie developers to put games out for you to play and make videos on. You know, that's a lot. You know, most indie developers is like one person. So I don't have a specific, like I don't have like a non-horror indie Thursday or something like that. Maybe I should.
That was just a thought.
It's a good idea. It would definitely be more of an organized situation instead of just me just kind of winging it. That's not a bad, not a bad idea, not a bad thought. I do appreciate
I'm not trying to preach that I'm organized either.
Hey man,
though. Like,
but you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, so I definitely am not opposed to constructive criticism or suggestions or anything like that. So I do appreciate it, and it's something that I will legitimately consider.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing, like, whenever you decide to do it, like seeing some of the non-horror stuff you go towards, because I'm easily spooked. So I like to watch more of your content where I'm not scared of watching it. So
well, I will seriously take that into consideration and see if see what I can do.
But for now we've got the bab bros.
Yes, I suppose that is something else that I'm doing that I could mention is that me and Crazy Eyed Eddie, which some of your listeners are probably familiar with, we also do our own podcast on YouTube every Wednesday night or Thursday morning. It's weird because there's like 3 hours between me and Eddie, so it gets confusing.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have our own little podcast where we just kind of like babble on about random things. Mostly, it's a lot less organized than this one, but it kind of works out for if anyone knows Eddie, it's and especially like when
Didn't he start using a bulleted list yet?
I think we've talked about it. We've talked about it, but more often than not, it's usually like we'll start talking about one thing, and then something else will come up, and then something else will come up, and then eventually we'll come back around to the first thing we were talking about.
You guys just kind of go.
Yeah, it's just
Eddie's really good at just a really good conversationalist too. So
absolutely, absolutely. And it's just two guys having a conversation, which is pretty much how we advertise the podcast. It's just come listen to us
Two
talk
bros
about
babbling.
things. Yeah, it's two bros babbling, bruh. Yeah. But definitely come check that out, guys, if you want more podcast in your life. I know the PIPCAST is pretty freaking amazing, but there's always room for more.
True.
I guess.
True.
I don't know.
I mean, I have been getting a little bit like too much content to consume that I get worried that I like can't catch it all.
Gotta catch them all, man.
Because I'm watching Crit Roll too, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that alone will take up.
That's the time killer.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been doing with my time otherwise, I'm only gonna mention a couple of these because I've been playing a lot of games lately. But something that wasn't a game, but may have been slightly inspired by the games. I watched through The Witcher Blood Origin over the last week on Netflix, which is the spin-off prequel series of the Conjunction of the Spheres. The Conjunction of the Spheres event, as well as the creation of the first Witcher. And saying those words sounds like something that's cool. Like something that you would like to see the beginnings of. But it took a long time for me to feel like I was interested in it. Because at the beginning, yeah, they were introducing the characters. They had the different nuances and personalities and stuff like that. How they ended up becoming a group of fighters against the Zentraean Empire, which was the High Elf Empire, and they had lowborn and classism and stuff like that. Very witchery things, obviously, but it just felt like another like gritty fantasy. Not even really gritty, but more like a violent fantasy thing.
Okay.
Violent fantasy world that stuff went wrong a lot of the time, and there was political stuff and different factions and different races and stuff like that, or different classes of elf. And the Conjunction of the Spheres happened where like humans were thrust into this world now. And then now we know in the Witcher series, like humans kind of took over. So, yeah, it was kind of cool, but I know I'm pretty sure that I know a lot of people have a lot more like really aggressive opinions about it. Like there was some of the characters that I liked, but I can't remember their names.
Oh no.
Because it's like a 4-part series, and like each part is like an hour-ish.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So but like if you want more Witcher stuff, I guess give it a try. But I will warn that like it doesn't get very interesting until like the last couple of the big chunky episodes. So
Okay.
They spend some time establishing the characters, which I can also appreciate, but I wanted more stuff to be happening. It's a weird balance they had to strike there.
Interesting.
Because it's a band of 7 7 characters, I think. So it's a lot to fit into, you know, that story. And something else I've been doing / playing. What do I say here? There's so many. Well, last episode I talked about Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion, which was a really fun remake / remaster to return to, because it was not on the PSP but instead on the PC, and playable and looked gorgeous, as gorgeous as it could anyway. But a lot of things were reworked to look really good. So this week, over the last couple of weeks, actually, I played through Final Fantasy VII Remake again, but also with Intergrade, which is the little Yuffie DLC that comes along with it. So I got to play her story too, which I kind of already saw it on somebody's stream vlogs, so I kind of knew what was going to happen, but even from the beginning, I kind of knew what was going to happen, so there wasn't too much surprise for me, because I know the world of suffering that is Final Fantasy VII. So it was still fun though. Like, mechanically, there was more stuff added in Yuffie's DLC that makes me really excited to see what part 2 of the remake brings. Because Yuffie's DLC, you have a secondary character named Sonon with her, but you don't directly control him. Instead, you can issue him commands like you would with other teammates, or you can sync him up with you, which means that he is following your attack patterns and like doing like combo attacks and stuff like that with Yuffie, or like team attacks kind of stuff like you would see in, I don't know, like a tag tournament type of game, or wrestling something or other. But it's cool, but they're ninjas, so it's cooler than wrestling.
Yes.
So and Yuffie had like different jutsu attacks and stuff like that, like stuff that she didn't have in the original game. That's makes her so much cooler as a ninja, even though she's a goofy kid still. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Do highly recommend FF7 Remake in general, because, well, part 2 is supposed to be coming this year. I hope it's good. I hope there's no NFTs.
Yeah.
But that's mostly what I've been doing. I've been playing other stuff too. I hopped back in to try my StarCraft Brood War map that I made in trade school 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it's still a banger. So if anybody here plays StarCraft Remaster, I learned that it works in that too. So if you have the remaster through Blizzard, because that's all they give you now, apparently, my map works on that too. So if you go to my Patreon, you don't have to become a patron. I made a public post with that map attached. So if you want to play my specialists map, it's a special forces use map settings map. If you want to play something like that, play it. If you want to finish the map, like finish making it, because it's a beta still technically, feel free. You can do whatever you want with it. You can make more flashy names come up on the mission briefing than I already did. So cool. That's mainly what I've been doing. I may have some B-roll from that too, just a tiny bit. But that's mostly what I've been up to. JRPGs and lots of nostalgia tripping.
Very good.
Please tell me and us what you're excited for in the coming year and what you've been up to. Maybe some plans, maybe some goals. I don't know. Is that trite? Is that
some New Year's resolutions? Maybe. Kind of.
I didn't want to say that, but oops. Yeah.
I know how to podcast.
No, that's fine. Resolutions, goals, something. I don't know. Just say something in the comments. Tell us you exist. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching with the B-roll, whatever that is on screen. and we'll catch you in 2 weeks in the next PIPCAST 3000 every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Oh, and thank you to my patron, my Wasteland Legends. Oh my god, Sven and Rose. Thank you so much. Goodbye.